everybody and welcome back to the channel, and here it is. Quite a lot of work actually that I haven't been showing, with a lot of little details but you don't see the progress. I decided to dope it. I put a thin layer of dope first on the bottom side to make sure it's protected, or as protected as can be, then also on the top, that's why it's a bit glossy. I put in some other details that weren't in the design, the red spots marking where the machine guns would be. I also put in the decals, which is the first time I do it, so I'm happy I actually managed to do it. Overall, if you compare with other projects that are out there on YouTube, no, it is not a very nice one. It is not as smooth as others, but for my purpose, actually, I'm pretty happy with the looks. For sure, it could be better. I still see something that maybe can be better, but really happy with the design. Engineering wise, let's say from the design of the Guillows, it's really good, straightforward to put together. The electronics were really difficult to put in, at least for me. I have tried them, they do seem to move, the ailerons move and the rudder and the stabilizer also moves, and I believe it will fly. I somehow have this feeling. Sometimes it might fly, sometimes it not, I'm not sure. Weight, it comes in at around, I think, 65 or 68 grams, which is just a little bit more than the P51 from which the electronics come from, so I hope that it's similar, that it will fly. In terms of drag, it might have more, as it's not completely smooth. It's got things sticking out everywhere. But I think I do have the feeling, at least as of now, that it will actually fly. Now I have to wait for a day that it's not too windy. There's some windy days coming up in my area, and that it's not too wet. And let's see if I dare throw it up in the air and see how it flies. That's going to be an interesting thing, and let's see if it survives the crash landings that are my standard way of landing. So let's see, I'll show you that in the upcoming videos. I created a small turntable. I copied the idea from somebody from YouTube using an egg timer. But in overall, I would say I'm happy with the results. It's been around 32 hours, a bit more than 32 hours of work. So it has been quite a lot of work, working evenings, weekends. It does take time, but I would say that's the main fun of these, is actually putting them together. Then flying them, I still don't think I'll quickly get to 30 hours of flying. So I think that the main part is, of course, then the building and working on the details and the frustrations, fixing problems and overcoming challenges, seeing how to fix things. I see already some mistakes coming up, but maybe I shouldn't look too much. For sure, if you have any recommendations or any of your own constructions that you've done, these adaptations of the small series of the Guillows, then let me know, and I'll show you a bit more of the images that we have, and then I'll take you out to the field and let's see what it does in the maiden flight, and I hope it doesn't crash right away. I'm a bit scared of that.
So this is it. After about 2 months of waiting and practicing with the P51, I'm finally going to try to launch the Spitfire, and let's see how it goes. I'll have to power it up, put in the battery, and see how it goes. Now I know it's going to go very bad, because yesterday when I was doing the final balancing and doing the final testing, I found out that the elevator servo is stuck. It moved a little bit and then it didn't budge at all. So I'm going to try to fly it without elevator, which is kind of a recipe for disaster that we know already. Why am I doing it if I know it's going to crash? It's because the only way I have of accessing that mini servo, which I don't think I can fix, is actually by pulling apart the whole aeroplane. So I was thinking, if I have to pull it apart anyhow, then at least let's give it a chance, or try to give it a chance of flying. So let's see. I've put in some weight in the nose. I hope it's balanced enough, trying to make it a bit more top heavy than anything else, and let's see how it goes. So now doing the connection, there it is. Let's see if we can be seen powering up. Engine goes. If I do the aileron test, they do move a little bit. Rudder test, let's see if it focuses. Works. Elevator test, not a sign of life. So this is going to be pretty bad. So let's see, the theory is that I'm going to try to control the elevator or the pitch with the throttle, which is a nice theory, but I'm not sure it will work. So let's see how far it actually gets on its first and probably last flight. Not very far. Actually went just out of the picture. I'll go and see it. It did not go well at all. I have a feeling it pitched down too much, so I've taken out a bit of the nose weight. Let's see if that helps. But it did survive somehow, the structure. So let's give it a second shot. And that's it. That's been the last flight. I estimate 5 to 6 meters of flight, and it's a goner. The engine has been ripped off. The cowling has flown away, which is okay. I don't mind that because that can be put back on. But the engine is basically not where it has to be anymore. So I think its flying days are over. Now I have to think what I'm going to do with it. So in any case, let's see, I'll debrief then at home over the desk and maybe a bit more factual later. So here it is, the wreckage. It's actually not as bad as it looked at first. Like the engine is indeed ripped off, but it's not something that could not be glued back on, which is nice to see. It's testament to the strength of the design, not so much to my building skills, right? But it could be glued back on. I think that would not be a problem, but I don't think it's worth it as the elevator servo is not working. So what I'm thinking of doing, there are different options. I have to open it up and check that servo. I don't think I'll be able to fix it because it's very difficult to fix servos, and these are very, very small ones. So I think that's going to be out of the question. And then the options that I have are either to putting a new ESC, which is an expensive investment. Like, it's not terribly expensive, but it's something that could be done. Another option that I was thinking of is maybe to turning it back into the original and rubber powered, put on the rubber motor and the propeller and seeing if it flies like that. I have to see. As to the reasons of why it failed, I'm not sure, of course, but I believe it could be that the lubrication of the push rod for the elevator might not be good enough. Like, there is no lubrication, there's just some holes in the balsa, and maybe those holes are too tight. So maybe through I've done some testing, not much actually, but some testing, and maybe that has just maybe broken the servo, maybe stripped the gear or something like that. So I'm guessing that that is the reason, but I can't really tell. So for the moment I'm going to leave it aside. That's the end of this project for a while. The propeller is broken, but it was broken on another airplane, on the P-51, but it's also quite dramatically broken. But as I say, I leave the project aside for the moment. I want to finish off another one that is close to completion, so I want to focus on that one, and then I'll see if I come back and how I come back to this one and what I do with it. So this is the end of the playlist also of the Spitfire build. Yes, I do recommend it. Give it a try. The fun is in the building, not in the 2 seconds of flying, evidently. And I have learned, I'm practicing also, so from that perspective I do not regret it. I'm a bit disappointed, of course, that it didn't really fly, but I'm not going to give up quite yet. I'm just going to postpone it a little bit. So as always, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for following this story, long story of building, short story of flying, and I'll see you in any other video. Thank you.